If you are living in Ontario and looking for auto insurance, call 437-449-6811 for a better rate with good insurance advice. Whether you are a new resident or a long-time driver, getting the right coverage at the right price matters, and our team is here to help you navigate your options. The story of Canadian citizenship is about to take a significant turn, one that will reshape the very fabric of how families across borders connect to the maple leaf. At the heart of this transformation lies Bill C-3, an Act to amend the Citizenship Act, which carries within its pages proposals that could redefine what it means to pass Canadian citizenship from one generation to the next. For decades, Canadian citizenship has been something of a precious inheritance, passed down through bloodlines like a treasured family heirloom. Parents who are Canadian citizens could pass this status to their children, even if those children were born thousands of miles away from the snow-capped Rockies or the shores of the Atlantic. However, the Canadian government is now considering tighter regulations, ones that would fundamentally limit this transfer of citizenship, particularly for those born abroad. The most striking change proposed under Bill C-3 is the restriction of citizenship by descent to only the first generation born outside Canada. Imagine a family tree where the branches extending beyond Canadian soil can only reach so far. Under this new framework, if a Canadian parent gives birth to a child in another country, that child may receive citizenship. But if that child, now grown, has their own children abroad, those grandchildren would not automatically inherit the right to call themselves Canadian. The chain would break, the connection would sever, and the link to Canada would require a different path altogether. To understand the weight of this change, consider the millions of Canadians who live and work around the world. There are teachers in international schools in Dubai, engineers on projects in Australia, diplomats stationed in embassies across Europe, and entrepreneurs building businesses in Southeast Asia. Many of these Canadians meet partners, build families, and have children in the countries where they are temporarily living. Under the current system, those children could become Canadian citizens, and so could their future children. Under the proposed amendments, however, that second generation born abroad would need to find another route to citizenship, one that does not flow automatically through their parents' Canadian heritage. But the changes do not stop there. Even for the first generation born abroad, the path to citizenship is about to become more conditional, more demanding of proof that the Canadian parent has genuine ties to the nation. The new rules would require that Canadian parents by descent, meaning those who themselves obtain citizenship through their parents rather than being born in Canada, must have lived in Canada for at least 3 years during any 5-year period before their child's birth or adoption. This is not a casual residency requirement. It demands a substantial, measurable connection to the land itself. Picture a young woman named Sarah, born in London to a Canadian father who himself was born in Toronto but raised mostly in the United Kingdom. Sarah has never lived in Canada, though she holds Canadian citizenship through her father. She now lives in Singapore, where she has fallen in love, married, and is expecting her first child. Under the proposed regulations, Sarah would need to demonstrate that she had spent 3 years living in Canada, at some point within a 5-year window before her child's birth, for that baby to automatically receive Canadian citizenship. If she cannot meet this threshold, her child would not inherit what she herself was granted by birth. The requirement creates a tangible link, a proof of lived experience, rather than citizenship existing as an abstract concept passed down through documents alone. There is, however, a lifeline for families caught in transition. Children who are born or adopted before these new rules come into effect would be exempt from these restrictions. This grandfather clause, as it is often called, protects those who made life decisions based on the rules as they existed, ensuring they are not retroactively penalized. It is a recognition that fairness demands we do not change the rules of the game after people have already played their hand. Beyond the changes affecting children born abroad, Bill C-3 also introduces a new layer of scrutiny for adults seeking Canadian citizenship. For those aged 18 years or older, the path forward will now include a mandatory security assessment. This is not a simple background check. It is a comprehensive evaluation designed to identify concerns related to national security, human rights violations, past criminal activity, and compliance with international economic sanctions. Canada, in this sense, is drawing firmer boundaries around who may enter the circle of citizenship, ensuring that those who do are aligned with the values and security interests of the nation. Consider what this means in practice. An applicant might be someone who has lived most of their life in a country with political instability, where human rights abuses are documented, or where ties to sanctioned regimes are common. The security assessment serves as a filter, a way for Canada to protect itself while still welcoming those who genuinely seek to contribute to Canadian society. It is a balancing act between openness and caution, between compassion and prudence. For applicants between the ages of 18 and 55, there is yet another hurdle to clear. These individuals must demonstrate adequate knowledge of either English or French, Canada's two official languages. This is not merely about being able to order coffee or ask for directions. It is about possessing the linguistic tools necessary to participate fully in Canadian life, to understand rights and responsibilities, to engage in civic discourse, and to navigate the institutions that shape daily existence. Language is the bridge to integration, and Canada is making clear that crossing that bridge is not optional. Alongside language proficiency, applicants in this age range must also show knowledge of Canada itself. This encompasses an understanding of Canadian culture, the rights afforded to citizens and residents, and the responsibilities that come with being part of the national community. What does this mean in tangible terms? It means knowing the significance of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, understanding the role of parliamentary democracy, recognizing the multicultural fabric that defines the Canadian identity, and appreciating the responsibilities of voting, paying taxes, and contributing to the common good. It is about ensuring that new citizens are not just legally Canadian, but meaningfully connected to the country's values and way of life. These knowledge requirements are not entirely new. They have long been part of the citizenship process. However, the amendments in Bill C-3 codified them more explicitly, making them non-negotiable standards for a broader range of applicants. The message is clear. Canadian citizenship is not just a status to be acquired. It is a commitment to be earned through demonstrated understanding and capability. Critics of the proposed changes argue that they may be too restrictive, potentially cutting off families from their heritage and making it harder for the global Canadian diaspora to maintain ties across generations. They worry that requiring 3 years of residency for parents by descent may be unrealistic. For those whose careers or circumstances keep them abroad, they question whether the security assessments and language requirements might create barriers for refugees or those fleeing persecution, who may not have had the opportunity to learn English or French, or to gather the documentation needed to pass security screenings. Supporters, on the other hand, contend that these measures are necessary to preserve the integrity of Canadian citizenship. They argue that citizenship should be more than a piece of paper, inherited through distant ancestry, that it should reflect a real lived connection to Canada. They point out that many countries have similar restrictions on citizenship by descent, and that Canada is simply aligning itself with international norms. They emphasize that the security assessments protect Canadians from potential threats, and that language and knowledge requirements ensure that new citizens can truly participate in Canadian society. As Bill C-3 moves through the legislative process, it will be debated, amended, and scrutinized by lawmakers, advocacy groups, and the public. The outcome will shape not just policy, but countless individual lives. Families will make decisions about where to live, when to have children, and how to maintain their connection to Canada. The ripple effects will be felt across continents, in the homes of Canadians living abroad, and in the hearts of those who have long seen Canada as a beacon of opportunity and belonging. What remains certain is that citizenship, in the Canadian context, is entering a new era. It is an era that demands deeper ties, clearer commitments, and a more deliberate connection between individuals and the nation they claim as their own. Whether this evolution will strengthen the bonds of Canadian identity or strain them, only time will tell. But the conversation has begun, and the future of Canadian citizenship is being written. One amendment, one policy, and one family story at a time. If you found this information valuable and want to stay updated on the latest changes in Canadian immigration, citizenship policies, and opportunities in the Western world, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends and family who might benefit from this knowledge, and subscribe to the West is Best channel. We are committed to bringing you accurate, timely, and comprehensive coverage of immigration news, policy changes, and practical guidance to help you navigate your journey. Your support helps us continue creating content that matters, and by subscribing, you ensure you never miss an important update that could affect your future or the future of your loved ones. Join our growing community today, and let us be your trusted source for all things related to immigration and settlement in the West.